Hi, I'm Sandy.
And I'm Paul, and we're aboard Sea Oasis. We always enjoyed outdoor activities and exploring, and so now we're spending time exploring in the San Juan Islands, as well as Canada, and eventually Alaska.
So welcome aboard.
So here we're at Friday Harbor again, and our route today is going to be right up the San Juan Channel and right into Reed Harbor. I want you to notice too that there are two harbors on Stuart Island. This one is Prevost and this one is Reed. Now, as you can see, the Turn Point Lighthouse is right here. So if you cannot walk the 4.5 round trip miles that it takes to get from Reed Harbor to the lighthouse, you might want to harbor here in Prevost Harbor. There's a county dock right about there, and it makes it an easy, I'd say, a mile walk to Turn Point, 2 miles round trip. With roughly half the rainfall of Seattle, the San Juan Islands are ripe with adventure, and Stuart Island is no exception. The calm waters are perfect for kayaking, sailing, and cruising in a powerboat. The lighthouse was built to help mariners navigate the 90-degree turn passing the west and north shores of Stuart Island, referred to as Turn Point. The lighthouse was built and ready for occupancy in July of 1883, and in November of that year, the first keeper was commissioned, Mr. A.F. Allen, and his assistant, Mr. Latta. Although there have been many lighthouse keepers over the years, another notable keeper in the early years was Mr. Louis Borchers, who was at Turn Point from 1902 until 1923. Louis is responsible for many of the historic pictures of island life there. He and his family grew vegetables, had chickens which provided eggs, and caught and canned fish. Herbert Hoover even commended him for making the lighthouse self-sufficient. As we approached Stuart Island, we had a surprise waiting for us.
Look what we found on the end of the dock. A little guy just sunning, and he doesn't seem to be too worried that we're here. Very happy little guy there. So we're retrieving this tennis ball for another visitor to Stuart Island today. We got it! And we're going to give it to the dog who lost it, who has been really searching for that ball.
You want that?
There you go!
Hi, Belle. Look at you. Look at you with your ball. Belle. Belle, look. Look. Belle.
You want me to roll it?
Here.
Can't roll it very far.
You want me to roll the ball? You want me to roll it? You can't be doing that. That's how you got in trouble.
We meet many couples as we explore the San Juan Islands. All are friendly, and they seem to have the same love of adventure as we do. On this trip, we are happy to have Paul's younger brother Carl with us. We had made this same trek to Stuart Lighthouse last year, almost exactly a year ago, and we wanted to recreate a picture we had taken of the three of us on the front porch of the keeper's quarters. Hiking through Stuart Island is a very pleasant experience. All trails are well marked and lead you past the Stuart Island School, the neighboring Teacherage Museum, a well-stocked library, and the Turn Point Lighthouse. Stuart Island was and is still a remote island that is not serviced by the Washington State Ferry. The only way to get here is by boat and has become a regular stop for boating tourists. Homesteaders started filling applications to live on Stuart Island as far back as 1876. Early settlers arriving on the island were fishermen, farmers, loggers, school teachers, and lighthouse keepers. As you might imagine, some loved Stuart Island, and some found it too isolating and difficult to live comfortably with no power or running water. In my research, I ran across a story about one enterprising young man, Bert Chevalier. He married his brother's ex-wife, Florence, in 1897. He then bought his stepfather's homestead on Stuart Island in 1898. He and Florence had 4 children. Bert was successful as a dairy farmer, and he was a blacksmith. Eventually, his wife Florence left the island via the mail boat, taking all but one child. He eventually married a mail-order bride from Texas in 1914. Her name was Amelia, and she brought her son. Together, she and Bert had a daughter. Unfortunately, only 5 years later, Amelia died of TB, leaving Bert alone with his 2 children and a stepson. The young father learned to bake, cook, sew, and knit. He also built a threshing machine, a sawmill, and endless other machines, all while raising a happy family. As you hike along, you will eventually pass the Boundary Pass Traders. This is a Benson family enterprise operated from a home on Stuart Island. It's run by the honor system, something most places cannot rely on anymore. If you find a t-shirt, hat, or long sleeve shirt with Stuart Island printed on it and want one for a souvenir, you simply try the samples hanging on the clothesline and then pick your packaged shirt out of the chest. Each package includes an envelope for you to pay by mail after you return home from your trip. Previously, this same system was used as a fundraiser for the school which the Benson children attended. This is the school building. This is a newer building, of course, built in 1980. The Stuart Island School was started in 1897 and then moved to a more central location on the island where it remains today.
And this is the Teacherage Museum. This really tells all the history of what's gone on here over the years. This is interesting. Look at how the early teachers looked.
Early teachers were hired right out of school, which is now known as Western Washington University. Teaching was certainly challenging for these brand new teachers. They were paid between $25 to $50 per month. And from this, they had to pay their own room and board at the lighthouse. Most of them stayed only 1 year, with a few exceptions.
One lady was here 2 years, and then this lady, and then back 2 years, it looks like. This is the library building. It's actually a very nice little library, and I think it's done on the honor system, where you take a book and bring it back. They don't check it out, from what I understand. Maybe you check it out and put your name on it yourself on a card so they know where to look to find it. It's a cute little facility here, and it's actually a working library.
Although the Stuart Island School is surrounded by forest and is quiet and peaceful, it is not without tragedy. In the 1950s, the Hendren family of 8 moved to Stuart Island. Mr. Hendren had accepted a job as a caretaker at the Paul property on the island. It was their children who formed almost the entire enrollment in the school. On a clear day, while on Christmas break, Mr. and Mrs. Hendren and their children, ranging in age from 1 to 14 years old, made the decision to go somewhere in their dory, similar to this one. Sadly, the Hendrens never returned. Upon investigation, their station wagon was still parked where they left it. It was established that the Hendrens had been in Friday Harbor on December 26th, and had left around 5 p.m. for Roche Harbor, and then left for Stuart Island in their boat. The facts made it clear that the boat caught fire and burned not far south of Stuart Island. The boat was later found on December 27th. Only their infant son's body washed up on Vancouver Island in Canada on December 28th. No one knows exactly how the boat ignited. As a result, the school now had no students to begin the school year. It closed in January of 1962 and remained closed until 1977. We arrived at the lighthouse just in time for the docent to give us the tour. There's a long waiting list for volunteers who want to be docents for the tours. They say it's 5 years long now, and they're no longer taking applications.
Okay, I'm going to give you the 10-minute version since I just did the 20-minute version, but I'd be happy to, walk you through.
5 minutes, okay.
Lighthouse Service, as it was called back then, decides where to put lighthouses. So they had the pig war down here on San Juan Island, and because the boundary was disputed, once they got that all cleared up, they would have had this lighthouse here sooner, but finally they built it in 1893. So this building's been here since then, 126 years. And in 1975, the Coast Guard automated the light. No more need for lighthouse keepers. Well then, from 1975 to 2005, this was just boarded up. And of course it got vandalized and this and that. And so in 2005, the Turn Point Lighthouse Society, Lighthouse Preservation Society was formed, and they started collecting money and working with BLM to bring this place back up. So even though the sign says on the way in,
We kicked all the bears out.
Kicked all the bears out, and they actually had to put up a flagpole again because the Coast Guard, when they closed it down, they took the flagpole out. The point is that this particular building took a lot of abuse from vandals and what have you.
And bears.
And bears. In 2005, they started bringing it back. So in 2015, they finished this new handrail because it was all destroyed or vandalized or gone. And so this is made of ash, the same thing baseball bats are made of because it's nice and strong, but there's not much of it. So it's made in 3 pieces, for example. And they bought these little rosettes on eBay because they couldn't find anybody to make those. But anyway, so that's a big piece of the remodel. The floors are just, they kind of look like nice wood, but it's actually that, some sort of linoleum or whatever. So we'll walk through, and this is, in the old days, we call this a sitting area, and all the furniture is donated or not necessarily original. So a lot of nice pieces in the house, but people, the society were able to get donations from different people and so forth. So that's one of those old timey radios. I have one of those in my garage I need to restore. I picked it up at a yard sale. So that'll be a fun project when I get to it, as soon as I slow down. Dining area, this is the Duncan Fife furniture set, which is a really nice furniture set. And then they actually have this is a phonograph with the crank, 78 RPM, remember those? So anyway, 78 RPM phonograph, and so, and a little bit of nice East Lake design. Not as popular as they used to be. Antiques, they go through periods when they're really popular and less popular.
Yeah.
And it seems like people could give a hoot about antiques anymore right now. So. And here's your typical kitchen setup for 50 years ago. You didn't have a lot of cabinet space because they either didn't have a lot of food or they didn't have a lot of utensils to put in them, what have you. So anyway, but maybe you recognize some of these old implements. I certainly do from
Grew up with most of those.
yeah, from childhood.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is pretty much basic kitchen, and they have I think this is I can't believe it's that old though. But the guy was talking to me yesterday about this being a DC-AC, direct current or alternating current refrigerator, because in the early days of refrigeration, they had, some houses were direct current.
Right.
And that's what was invented first, but then they found out alternating current was a lot better. So that's what we have today. Are you guys you're on a boat, right?
We're on, it's a wind and nobody knows what it is.
A wind, but it's a power boat?
Yeah.
No. Well, about, DC and AC, because you have to have both systems on your boat because, of course, the batteries when you're underway and so forth. And then this back room was the woodshed, the wood storage, because they had tremendous heating needs in the wintertime because, a big old drafty house. And so when you have a house this old, first thing you had was the outhouse. Then they figured out how to move the outhouse inside, but it was still like an outhouse. And sure enough, this is called an earth closet because you'd have a big bucket with some dirt in it. You do your business, put some dirt on top, come back later and do it again, and then finally just dump it out. So earth closet. So anyway.
What are the dates on the magazines? 1947.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Karl Marx.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Magazine.
Yeah, Karl Marx. Yeah, well.
Whatever, this one is gas-powered washing machines. Because they used to have gasoline engines.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I thought this was the water one.
Well, I think it is, but, where we grew up, they had these with little Briggs and Stratton engines.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But you see the ringer because they hadn't figured out how to put a spin cycle in there. Yeah.
It must be electric.
Yeah. Maytag.
That's what my grandmother had, and then you wrung it out.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had one of those basically.
Yeah, it was brown though, right?
Yeah.
And was it gas powered?
No, that was
electric.
Yeah.
Okay. Show you the upstairs, and it's interesting when you watch your stuff because these handrails are so low, because I think people were smaller 100 years ago. So, they didn't have that, especially this top railing. When you stand up here, you say, oh my God, that's kind of low. That's not really going to stop me, right here.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
those railings.
Yeah.
Cap railing.
Yeah. But anyway, so this is the lighthouse keeper's room, and so, it's kind of strategic bed placement, so you can see the light at any hour to make sure the light's still working, because it's obviously, the whole point of this whole area is, to keep that light working, every night and so forth. Did I mention that the the reason why the windows seem dirty is because, you know, a lot of these windows were broken out during the vandalism period, and so the Lighthouse Preservation Society put plexiglass,
Oh,
so you got a layer of plexiglass out there, you know, so it works.
Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, gosh, so you gotta sleep with a strobe light on.
Yeah,
Good,
nice.
good for your sleep, huh?
Yeah.
Wake up when the strobe goes pop.
But anyway, so that's basically it, and then the kids' room here, and little baby room, and then of course this bathroom was put in later, so you could see where they cut into this room just to make a decent sized bathroom in here when they finally did get, you know, indoor plumbing, so.
Good size place.
Yeah. But, you know, if you gotta live somewhere year round, you know, then they had a garden and, you know, they had all that, and they were fishermen. At one point, they had a tramway going down to the water's edge so they could get in their fishing boat or whatever, and go fishing, so.
Fall off your rocks.
Yeah, it's kind of the way that, you just walk up and you go around,
It's
you know.
right there.
As I mentioned earlier, we wanted to recreate a picture that we had done last year at this same time. So here we are, 1 year later. We were told that traveling orca pods were not uncommon around the Turn Point Lighthouse. And the day we visited, the docent told us that just an hour before we had arrived, an orca had been swimming all around the base of the lighthouse. That was quite disappointing for someone who wanted a very close-up shot of orca whales. Just around the corner, we did see orca whales, and you will too. After a busy day, we started heading home. Our hike was made a little more fun by some artwork I suppose some kids had left on the walkway. We smiled as we walked along. It was fun spotting them.
That's me, just hit a log, looking busy.
Yeah, this is a good life. Looking busy, letting the ship drive itself here.
You two ought to be doing something.
We are. We're watching out for logs.
Turn the radio on and listen to them. Complain about not getting into customs. We make 2 videos a month. We appreciate everyone who watches our channel, and in order for our channel to succeed and grow, we just ask everyone that enjoys it to please subscribe.
Please hit the subscribe button underneath the video or on any screen of the video to subscribe. And hit the bell so that you'll be notified when a new video is released. You didn't talk. Thanks for watching. See you next time.